Um, Happy Sunday. This is Jill Kempner, angel coach, alchemist, and author of Receiving from Your Angels. And this is day 7 of the 30 days of courage, visibility, and angel medicine. And I want to keep sharing my story, but I always want to start with who I'm here to serve. So I am here to serve earth angels, empaths, cycle breakers, those highly sensitive, highly intuitive souls who are ready to take what is painful, what is heavy, what is leaden in their lives and turn it into spiritual gold. So the goal of this 30 days, this 30-day video challenge is for me to increase my capacity to serve, to share, to shine, to show up no matter what. And definitely Sunday is a harder day for me to do that because normally it's a, kind of total day off. Plus I was on a trip and my cat was in the hospital this week and they actually still have more stuff to do with all that. So, it's been a lot, but it's all good. And then also simultaneously to share why I'm so excited about my upcoming programs in 2016 and ultimately to add value to your life. So adding value to your life by bringing in whatever angel medicine or downloads are available for you and through my authenticity of sharing my story. And so I want to keep sharing my story. So where I left off was that my brother was in a traumatic car accident. So I had a stressful and chaotic childhood. There was poverty, there was homelessness, there was abuse. And then my father died when I was 11. So my mom was a single mom and there was just a lot. And I also felt parentified, right? I felt like I had to be a parent at a young age. Watching my brother and, kind of stepping in around the house and everything. That was even before my dad passed. So there was a lot of responsibility on me, right? A lot of weight of the world, responsibility, shoulds, pressure on my shoulders, weight of the world. And then I became a massage therapist and a yoga teacher and fell in love with the healing arts. I've actually been in the healing arts now for 27 years, which is such a gift. And one of the videos now, I can't remember which one now, but I was talking about these initiations and these challenging things that we go through that help us grow. So I had many challenging things that I went through that helped me grow. And one of those was the dark night of the soul. So going to the psych hospital after my daughter was born and experiencing what I later called the dark night of the soul. What I really had was PTSD, right? I had unprocessed, undiagnosed PTSD, and that led to this breakdown that actually became a breakthrough. It was my breakthrough to connect with my soul on a deeper level and to begin to take excellent care of myself. One of the biggest things I learned from the dark night of the soul was that I needed to take better care of myself, and that became my commitment, my reset. And I started to develop a daily angel practice. The last video I talked about tearing my knee and just all the things that came up around learning about my medicine of relaxation, cherishing my body enough to pause and say no to massage and changing careers, evolving careers. And now I've been doing what I'm doing now for 9 years, which is pretty awesome. I didn't plan it, but I started my angel coaching business in 2017. And now 9 years later, 2025, is a whole 9-year cycle, right? So a whole epicycle that I've been developing the relax, release, receive process. And in part, that relax, release, receive process really was birthed through these multiple initiations. Obviously the dark night of the soul, which now is almost 20 years ago. But, tearing my knee and then my shoulder and then changing careers. And then my brother's traumatic car accident. So in 2018, my brother was in a traumatic car accident where he suffered, life-threatening injuries, and he was in the ICU for 30 days. And that put a tremendous strain, as you can imagine, on all of our nervous systems, especially my mom. And my mom already had, just stuff, just a hard life, a challenging life, a heavy life in many ways. And this, my brother's traumatic car accident and being in the hospital, and then he had a lot of injuries, a lot of physical injuries, but he also had a traumatic brain injury. And that obviously changed the course of his whole life because he wasn't able to work after the traumatic brain injury. What was interesting about it was that he looked normal he had bipolar and traumatic brain injury. So kind of looked like a normal guy from the outside until you started talking to him, and then you realized that, things weren't always clicking. And it was interesting because he had a right brain injury, traumatic brain TBI. So that affected like filters and social cues and short-term memory. And so it was challenging, to say the least. And of course it was challenging on my brother, but it was also challenging on my mom, who felt like, this is my son and I need to take care of him, and I need to, he's my responsibility, and he's now like probably never going to leave the nest. And that was hard for her on a lot of levels. And she was getting very close to retirement age. And, bottom line is she had really bad PTSD. We all had PTSD, but like my mom's was like through the roof. And I kept, obviously encouraging her to address it, because I could tell that it was, creating a lot of anxiety. It was creating, tremendous stress in her system, and stress responses to just, things that really weren't big, but she would receive them in a very, overreactive type of way, like, just intense. So the reason why I'm sharing this is because, this is just the story, right? So this is just what happened. And so all of that, Dylan's accident, Dylan's, traumatic brain injury, Dylan's recovery, my brother, and then my mom's, inability, I think, to process everything that had happened. And so in 2021, she was diagnosed with bile duct cancer, which is a deadly cancer. It's called cholangiocarcinoma, but essentially she had a tiny little tumor in one of those ducts in her liver. And she, within a year, died. Transitioned, crossed over. And I was her primary caregiver. So I took care of my mom and my brother and my business, and obviously my family, my 2 children, all at the same time. And it was a really hard time. My mom was very young. She had just retired from 30 years of nursing, and 2 months later got diagnosed, and a year later died. And it was very painful. Her particular cancer, it was non-resectable, which means she could not have she couldn't have it removed or have a surgery to remove it, which does actually really increase your chances of living from cancer. People can live from cancer if they can cut it out. And that wasn't going to happen for my mom's specific cancer. So watching my mom die was probably literally the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. It's interesting because I had one parent leave instantly. And I know I haven't told the details of my dad's story on purpose, because the people who I connect with are highly sensitive, highly intuitive souls. And I just, there's always a right time for things. So I had my father, when I was 11, leave instantly. And my mom have a slower, I mean, year is not slow, but it's not instant either. So it was rough. I mean, it was, I just, of course I miss my mom, she was only 67. And so there was a lot of layers. And when my mom passed, so I helped my mom transition. And then, of course, my brother. Of course, I was going to step in and take the role of caregiver. And my mom was actually working for the Department of Rehab there's actually some kind of cool programs that are out there. So this program allowed my mom to receive some money to care for my brother. And I took over that job. I took over that role for a year and worked 2 jobs. So I worked that job and I worked my own angel coaching business. I never stopped, having my own angel coaching business. And so I'm just listening for a minute. I can wrap this up. Thank you. And then in 2023, a year after my mom passed away, my brother passed away. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but he did, die tragically. And it's really sad. And, it was connected with his traumatic brain injury and his mental illness and all of that. And I'm still processing it. It's only been 2 years since he passed away. And so that's what I've been dealing with. I've been dealing with like tremendous grief, PTSD and grief, and it shows up in the body. So I was diagnosed with high blood pressure last October, and right now it's, totally stabilized with medication. And then of course the Crohn's disease too, which is managed through my daily spiritual practice, through diet and exercise, hydration, all of that. And I'm not on medication for the Crohn's disease, which I'm very grateful for. So I share all this because obviously one of the goals is to just get on here and talk and not have a plan, which is not easy for me to do, believe it or not, because I really still have those parts that want to, make sense and, be polished and be scripted and, just like all of the things. So I'm bursting all those bubbles of perfectionism and all of that, and stepping into more, step courageously into just sharing from my heart. And I'm building on the story that I've been sharing, because this is who I am. This is who I am. This is my medicine. These are the experiences that I've had that have led me to the healing modalities that I know work through my own challenges, my own difficulties, my own struggles. So I'm so grateful for the relax, release, receive process that I outline in my debut book, that I share with my coaching clients and students and those I'm here to serve. And I felt like there was something else the angels wanted me to say. I'm going to take a sip of this. So yeah, it's been a challenging couple of years, losing my mom and my brother a year apart. And still trying to learn all of the lessons that are available for me through those losses. And of course, I know they are on the other side. There is peace for both of them, because they were struggling Dylan was definitely struggling, after the traumatic car accident, after the brain injury, to kind of, who am I? What am I doing with my life? What's this journey all about? Those type of things. And yeah, I feel like I'm still healing from losing my brother traumatically, losing my mom. And there have been other initiations that have been part of this journey. So I'm so grateful for my daily angel practice that gives me the opportunity, gives me the space, gives me the tools to process the deep grief, to process the trauma and the subsequent post-traumatic stress, right? The post-traumatic stress, to process the stress, to process the the sadness, the pain, the emotional pain. And I felt like there was one other thing the angels wanted me to say. I'm sorry, so I'm tired. So I'll just go with, I had a really wonderful, fun weekend. My husband and I drove to Kentucky, Covington, Kentucky, to see one of our favorite bands, and they threw down, shout out to Solar Circuit. Shout out to Alex, who put the whole entire event together. Such an amazing, super fun night. They played for 3 hours without stopping. So my legs are very sore. I'm super tired because we stayed up late, and the hotel room was the air in their quality wasn't great. So I didn't sleep super great, and then we drove home. So I'm tired. But I'm so grateful. It has been an amazing Sagittarian season, an amazing birthday celebration. And, one of the things I've learned from loss, and I think this will be, I guess the teaching, the medicine, is that life is precious. Life is short, life is sweet, and life is precious. And we have to take those moments to feel joy and receive joy and share joy. I know I brought joy to this event, which almost didn't happen because there was a crazy, crazy snowstorm. And it took us 7+ hours to get to Kentucky from Chicago because of the snowstorm. And we did wonder, should we not be doing this? Because, there's a crazy snowstorm, and our cat was in the hospital. I know that sounds so horrible, but my daughter was helping, and we were doing everything safely, and we didn't want to cancel the trip. Should we not? So anyway, we did it. I'm so happy we did. Solar Circuit drove 13 hours from Pennsylvania to Kentucky, and then the end of their trip had snow as well. So it was an amazing weekend. I'm so grateful for it, and I'm grateful for all of you. So yeah, I'm sending you love and angel blessings, and I look forward to the coming up week where I am going to be talking more about the Angel Reiki Immersion, which I only have 2 openings for, and the Angelic Alchemist membership, which, by the way, tomorrow, thank you for reminding me, angels, tomorrow, the wait list opens for the Angelic Alchemist membership. So tomorrow morning, I'll talk more about, or whenever I go live, but I think I'll do it in the morning, talk more about that awesome offering. And yeah, just thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. The bottom line is people come and go, and it's okay. So, it's all divine. I'm sharing my heart. I'm sharing my medicine. I'm sharing my story. The goal is for these to be shorter, but I know that part of this was me grounding the foundation of who I am, and why, when I start talking about Angel Reiki and I'm talking about the Angelic Alchemist membership and all these beautiful offerings that I have in 2026, why it's so valuable. And that's ultimately my goal is that Maritza, happy birthday. Namaste. Is that you? Okay, good. Maritza, happy birthday, dear. So, yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for sending love. We're going to be continuing our journey together. So thanks for staying with me, even through my pauses and my tiredness. But when I pause, I want to say this because maybe this is part of the teaching. I'm always like, what's the teaching, angels? When I pause, I'm listening to my intuition. I'm listening to my clairaudience, my clairvoyance, my, claircognizance at my crown, my clairsentience in my belly. I'm listening to my intuition. And I also might be centering back to my heart, back to my soul, so that my soul is the goal of these is that my soul leads and not any, wounded parts or managers or all of that, right? So allowing my soul's truth, which is actually one of my cards today, was Cosmic Sapphire, and speaking my truth. So hopefully something in here is a gem for you and resonates, and I will be back tomorrow. Lots of love. Bye. Thank you.